Hi everybody, my name is Jonathan and this is my presentation for the final project of Motor Learning. Today we're going to be going over two different exercises. The first is going to be the lunge, and then we're also going to be going over the split squat. The teaching objectives of this are going to be how we can better teach somebody who has not learned this before how to do this. And some of these principles are going to be key in figuring out how to do that. So, as I said, we're going to be going over the general motor program and schema theory. And basically that is when you have a same general movement pattern for different things that you're doing. But I'll get into that in a minute. So the first exercise I'm going to demonstrate is going to be the lunge. I'm going to pick up my weight. And to begin, this is the starting position. You're just standing. You're going to bring one foot forward. You can come down and you can touch your knee or slightly just above the ground, and then come back. Bring the other leg forward, same thing, then come back. So the muscles that we use in the lunge are going to be the glutes, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, and the calves. Now the second exercise is going to be the split squat. So again, I'm going to pick up my weights. I'm going to bring one foot forward. My rearward foot is on the ball of my foot. And then we're going to bring it down. Again, knee touch the ground or just slightly above, and back up. And that's one repetition. And you can do this many times. You'll notice my legs are slightly bent. My knees are slightly bent. They're not going straight. And you want to do the same number of repetitions on both sides so that you get an even workout on both legs. The muscles that we use on the split squat are going to be the glutes and the quads, although you still use some of the hamstrings and the calves. But again, they're generally the same movement. And so one thing about the general motor program is invariant features. Every movement has features that are the same, whether it's done one way or another way. So the invariant feature of a split squat is the movement of the knee. We're bringing the knee up and we're bending it, both knees. So that's going to be the same no matter how much weight I have or how fast I do it. You have to do that in order to do the movement. And same thing with the lunge. So the order of activation, when I do a lunge, I'm activating movement when I begin, when I bring my foot forward, and then I'm coming down, and the most activation is coming up. Takes the most force. And then deactivation would be me standing here. It's deactivating the main muscles, although my back muscles and my shoulder muscles are still being used to hold the weight. The force of muscle contraction, that's going to vary depending on if you're using body weight, okay? Which means, no weight, you're not carrying any additional weight. But if I step over here, and if I do a split squat with these weights, a little bit heavier. So we're going to bring foot forward, come down, and now it's taking more force for me to move the weights up. Another leg. So this affects my speed as well as the force that my muscles have to exert. And the duration of muscle contraction, that's going to vary depending on our goals. So if I'm training for hypertrophy, I'm going to be going slower on the eccentric. So for the lunge, slowly down and then and back up, slowly down and back up. If I was training for endurance, I would go a little faster and I would do many repetitions. So I would probably use no weight so that I can get the maximum number of repetitions, and I would go quickly as such. So the duration of muscle contraction, that's going to depend on the situation and the personal goals of the learner. Now moving on to information processing. When I'm teaching this skill to a new learner, I'm going to display the movement, and I'm not going to use any weight, and they're not going to use any weight. That'll help them to learn the movement. So I'm going to give them a display like so, and when they're observing this display, there might be other distractions or movement around the environment that they have to filter out. So there could be kids playing basketball, there could be kids yelling and running in the park, there could be traffic driving by. They have to filter out all that unnecessary information, and they have to focus on the display. Once they do that, they can take the information they've been given, and they can repeat it by doing the movement like so. And once they have done that, it goes into short-term working memory, and if they repeat it and they have not done this before, the more they do it, the more they rehearse it, the more it's going to move from short-term working memory into long-term memory. And that way, when they come back, say the next day or the next week or whenever they want to do it again, it'll be easier for them to do it because they retrieve it from their long-term memory, and then they perform the movement. Each time they rehearse the movement, each time they rehearse it, it goes into long-term memory, and they rehearse it again, it goes into long-term memory, and their central nervous system repeats it, and they're better able to perform the movement the next time. This obviously can translate to different movements, all sorts of sports movements, anything you can imagine really. So in conclusion, I've talked about the general motor program and schema theory, and some of the information processing ideas such as display, short-term and long-term memory, and retrieval. And hopefully this helps folks out there teach students a little bit easier and to help them reach their max potential. That's all I got. Have a good one.